We have an adage here at Microsoft that when you get out of technical and into marketing, they remove 1/3 of your brain. The problem is our systems back, I guess it was 7 years ago when I used to be an SE and I was actually an NT evangelist before NT 3.1 was released. So I was working with the product groups at the time, and when I actually got out of being a systems engineer or a systems engineer manager and got into marketing, they went through the process of removing 1/3 of my brain. Problem is the systems back then weren't as good, and they actually lost that data. So when I moved to a different section of the marketing organization, they took out another 1/3 of my brain. So I'm currently down to 44% capacity, and it's kind of tough. So I apologize for the background. This is the new look of Office XP. I'm a skier, okay, and it was a fairly tough year. So I'm trying to extend that year, and hopefully, it's like having snow, having it on your screen, because that's about the only snow we got this year. So we have very limited time today. I have about a half hour, and I asked for this half hour, and I know that your mouths are full, and some of you didn't get drinks out there, and there's going to be people coming and going. So I apologize if it seems distracting, but I just wanted to get the opportunity to stand in front of you folks and show you just a sneak preview of Office XP. Now at the end of the month, we're going to go through this massive launch where we're going to be in a whole bunch of different cities. I think up to 130 cities worldwide doing a launch event. There will be a couple of key events like Bill Gates in New York, and Washington, D.C.'s Jeff Rakes, and Steve Ballmer will be in Chicago. So depending on where you are, you might see different coverage. I would really encourage you to, if you find anything exciting today, that you spend the time to watch that launch. I'm going to show you just a sneak preview of some of the things that you'll see during the launch, but it's just a far more comprehensive view. Plus, they'll be able to tell you about some resources that today just aren't available, but within the next 2 weeks are going to come to fruition. And as I show you smart tags, you're probably going to want to hear where you can get more smart tags, where you can get access to some of the future stuff. So we're just going to get jamming here, and I'm just going to open up a Word here, which is something I used to be able to do when I was an SE. Now, how many people here feel like they use about 10% of Office today? How many people here use Office today? Okay, good. And a large majority of you feel like you're using maybe 10, 15%? Well, guess what? We heard that feedback loud and clear. Now with Office 2000, we spent a lot of time on IT issues. We spent a lot of time making it far more stable, making it web-enabled, making it possible for people to manage it and deploy it and run it in a stable enterprise environment. What we heard from users was, there's not a lot of new stuff there for me. I don't see the real advantage. So when we went back to the IT managers and said, for those of you who have purchased it and haven't deployed it, why? And they said, well, nobody's asking for it. They also told us, and we heard this a lot, and I personally experienced this, I'm using about 10% of the product. Well, these guys are using about 10% of the product from Highline High School, is it? And you're using 10% of the product, and your finance guy's using 10% of the product, and it may be different 10%. So it's not like the product is going unused. But let's just be perfectly clear. One of our primary design goals was to expose the part of the product that you weren't necessarily getting access to. Now, what I would like to say is that we have two technologies that are going to give you access to the most commonly used features in Office. But I'm not going to say that. I'm going to say we have two new technologies that give you exposure to some of the most commonly used features within Office and some of the most important features. Because what we're also going to show you is that a lot of the stuff that you're going to get access to isn't stuff that you might have even commonly used or used very often, but stuff that you didn't even know was in the product. So the first of the two technologies that I'm talking about is the task panes on the right. Now you're going to see a lot of different task panes, and in fact within Word, I'm just going to show you right now, there are a number of different task panes available. You see the styles and formatting and all, a whole bunch of different ones. Well, because I just opened up Word, the one that context sensitive came up is the new document task pane, which of course just gives me my most recently used documents. And as I hover over them, the tooltips tell me what that actually is. There's also blank documents. And you know, a lot of people open up a document and they say, oh man, that's cool formatting. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go in, I'm going to change a couple of words, and I'm going to save it and call it my document. That's not plagiarism, is it? If you steal somebody else's formatting? Well, now we actually embrace that, and it makes it a lot easier to do that. But one of the things that I would encourage you to do as you install the product is spend some time out on a lot of these templates on my websites, or I'm sorry, templates on Microsoft.com. We've done a lot of extra work to try to make these templates things that you're really going to use. And so one day I was just kind of messing around, and I thought, what kind of templates would they have on PowerPoint? Whenever I do a PowerPoint presentation, I always kind of want to just do my own thing, you know? And I went out and looked, and man, there's newsletters and there's all these different options within PowerPoint that they've built templates for. So spend some time there. You might actually find that there's some valuable stuff for you. Well, let's just jam real quick here and open up this document. This is a merger letter about a company named Champion Zone that is actually going through the process of doing a merger. And I'm just going to do a couple of things real quick. I'm going to type in this gentleman's name. This is Neil Charney. I'm Neil Sturgeon. Everybody gets that confused. Why did they use that name? I don't know. Now, you'll notice here that there's a little icon that came up while Neil Charney's name is underlined. And you see to the left this purple dots? That is an example of the second technology that is giving you exposure to some of the most commonly used features within Office XP and some of the most strategic, some of the most important. This one is called Smart Tags. Now for any of you, like these gentlemen up front who saw a demo of IE6, Smart Tags are also in IE6, but they're in Word, Excel, and Outlook. Now what this does is, this is like, I like to think of this as, it's like autocorrect on steroids. What it does is, there's actually two things going on here. There's the recognizing of something, and then the action that you do once you recognize it. So what this has done is this has recognized that Neil Charney is a person. And it says, well, this is a person. What are some of the types of things you might want to do with a person? Ooh. Okay, let's keep it within context of a document. That, you know, that is not even funny. So some of the types of things that I might want to do if I had a person in a document is, I might want to schedule a meeting with that person. I might want to send mail to that person. I might want to go into my Outlook contacts where I've spent tens of hours putting my information into the contacts over and over. And then when I want to pull that information into a document, what do I have to do? I have to Alt-Tab over to Outlook. I have to open up the contacts. I then have to find the person in my contacts list. Then I need to open up that contact. Then I need to go into the address. Oh. Well, why don't we just do this? This Smart Tag allows for me to just insert address. And you're going to see here that it's actually going out to Outlook. It's, I probably should have done this before, so it was cached. But it actually brought back from Outlook Neil Charney's address. Now, Evan, I thought you said that they were going to clap at cool stuff. I just think that is so much fun. Well, what is some of the things that I might want to do with an address? I might want to display a map. I might want to display driving instructions. This is cool stuff. This is just the beginning. These are the Smart Tags that actually ship in the box. So we're going to go down here right now, and let's see. One of the things that I need to do is I need to extend this. You see up here it says 1, 2, 3. Well, I'm just going to make a 4, and I'm going to schedule. Oh no! It automatically put in a 1. Oh my God! I'm going to hyperventilate here. I could be here for 15 minutes trying to figure out how to turn that into a 4. That's not funny. All I have to do is go to this smart tag that gives me control over the autocorrect features, click on continue numbering, and I got a 4. Now what Office XP has, one of the other things that we tried to focus on with smart tags is to give you control over the automatic things that happen within the product. So in this particular case, it was an autocorrect. Over in Excel, I'm going to show you some other ones. So what we're going to do now is, because I've set the stage that smart tags and task panes are the two technologies that are giving you access to the functions within Office, within the common user interface that you're already familiar with. You already know how to use Word. You already know how to do bullets. You already know how to use Excel. You already know how to do all of this type of stuff. We're just giving you access to additional features. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to jam through, and I want you to keep a close watch, and you're going to see a bunch of different smart tags. Schedule a meeting on March 4th. Oh no. I'm going to schedule a meeting on 3/4. That ought to be interesting. So I want to undo the fraction. That's pretty obvious, right? But have you ever tried to do that in the past? You might have to put a space in there so that it doesn't really see it. And also, having it at 3/4 is a wonderful thing. Autocorrect is a wonderful thing. You just want control over it. So we're going now, you see here how it, because I had a period after sched, it capitalized the next letter. Well, that's great. But I don't need to schedule a meeting on March 4th. What I need to do is schedule a meeting. And so this autocorrect smart tag comes up. I can undo the capitalization. But even more important than that, I can actually stop auto-capitalizing after sched. So it's going to learn from me. I can actually train the system that sched is a word that I'm going to continue to use. And it's going to allow for me to do that in the future without having to correct it. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go over to Excel, and I'm going to bring some information into Excel. For any of you who were Office users back in Windows, or I guess it was Excel 3.0, you'll notice that I copied and pasted. That used to be, oops, I didn't copy and paste. Let me do that again. That was actually a DDEOLE thing that we did back in 1990, was it? Something like that. Great, so we just copied and pasted something from one document into another. Isn't that amazing? Well, guess what? Yellow isn't what I wanted. So I'm stuck with yellow. Or I go back to the document, reformat it, maybe even save it as something different, and then I have to take control over my own paste function. Well, what I would really like to do is just have the ability to match the destination table style, or I could even just paste it in as text only. When I still had my full brain and I was a technical guy, text only was the way I wanted to go. ASCII, baby. I'm going to go back to keep source formatting, and so you see that it's actually giving you the control over the features within the product. The automatic features. Now what I'm also going to do here is I'm going to insert a row. Let's insert this row here. Oh, sweet! What I really wanted was 17 yards of yellow in the middle of my spreadsheet. This is awesome! No, I want control over that. So you see that we have a format same as below, format same as above, or I can just clear the formatting. Well, the same is true of autofill. How many people know how to use autofill? That was a pretty cool feature back in 1991. But guess what? If you haven't seen it before, it's new. The real value of this, though, is the smart tag that comes with it. Because the way a lot of times when you do an autofill, what you're really just trying to get to is the formatting. This is great that it automatically filled out 2005. But if I only have one new customer in the next year, I'm fired. So autofill didn't do exactly what I want there. So you'll see here that the smart tag gives me the ability to fill the series, fill the formatting only, or fill without formatting. So I'm going to fill the formatting only. I'm going to just type in real quick, total, and then I'm going to do something here that I would never do, equals sum. If I wanted to summarize something, I'd just go up to that sigma that was also an Excel 3 feature, and I'd just press it, and it would automatically go through this sum process. Very cool stuff. But what I wanted to point out is that this tooltip comes up now, and it actually shows me what the formula is that I'm using. And you know, for AutoSum, it's pretty obvious how you would type it in. But if you were doing net present value, you might forget what those functions are. So you can see that the power of the tooltip there is going to be a great thing. Now, watch out, the guy's going to make a mistake. Warning, he's making a mistake. I'm going to summarize this section here, and oh, I must have made a mistake. You see how there's a, oops, let me get out of there. You see how there's a little caret right here? Well, that little caret is telling me that I made a mistake, and it's automatically telling me what type of an error that I made in Excel. Well, this is extremely valuable on things like budgets. I mean, imagine if you were building a budget in your organization and you just kind of spaced a line. Ugh, it could be catastrophic. Well, what this auto error correct smart tag does is it gives me a number of options that I might want to do if I were to make an error within a cell. And you can see here that I can either update the formula to include cells, or I can just get help on this error or ignore this error. I'm just going to update it, and boom. It automatically, now I'm just double click on that, again an Excel 4 feature, and you can see that it actually included that adjacent cell. So let's see, let's just pull that over so that it looks like a real document there, and boom. Now, you'll also notice here that we have these smart tags. Well, this was actually something that was developed that does not ship with the product, but it's an example of a type of smart tag that might be valuable. You can see how we can take something that is obviously a dollar figure and convert it to a French franc. And it's actually going out to Explorer, where it's not going to find anything because guess what? I'm not connected. But what it would actually do is go out to Explorer, pull that information off of a website, and say right up to the date, what is the conversion rate? So you can see how in a financial type of an environment, some enhancements have been made. But what this is also an example of is the extensibility of smart tags. Now, I'm going to jump over real quick, and I'm kind of getting a little bit light on time. That was just by design. And what I want to do is I've kind of shown you a little bit of a teaser on smart tags, and I've kind of shown you a little bit of a teaser on the task panes. I'll just show you a couple more task panes real quick. And then I'm going to jump over and show you some real solutions that were developed within smart tags that give users access to a whole different type of information from right within their Office applications. But before we go, you notice the task pane on the right. What does this task pane do? This is your clipboard. And in the past, for any of you who have used Office 2000, you know that we went to the ability to have up to 12 items on the clipboard, but all it would do is give you a little icon. Now, I don't know about you, but I wasn't willing to risk that that's the right Word document icon when I have 12 of them there. Well, you can see now that it gives you a graphical representation of what we have on the clipboard, but it also allows you now to capture up to 24. So you can literally go in and capture all of the different types of text and then go over to another document and just start plugging them in the order that you want. It's actually something that you will use with the product. So make sure that when you install the product that you go up to View, Task Panes, if it doesn't automatically come up. Or you can just copy two things to the clipboard and it'll automatically come up. We're going to go back and show you one more thing on the task panes before we move on to the solutions. So I'm going to, let's see, let me just get this document to where you can see the multiple sections. I'm going to go with the styles and formatting. And you'll notice here that as I highlight a particular section, it tells me what kind of formatting was being used there. Well, that's really pretty powerful. And actually, one of the things that I've had to do in preparing for the launch is build these long, extensive, 100-page documents that not one person will ever read, but it's required by my job to do. And so the formatting of these documents that nobody's ever going to read is extremely important. Because, that's what I do. I'm marketing now. I only have 44% of my brain, right? So formatting is extremely important. Well, one of the things that I want to be able to do, now you see that all of these things that I used to have to go searching for, they're all available right here. But what I also can do from within this task pane that I think is the most valuable part of it is I can select all instances of this type of formatting, and then I can change them all at once. So let's just say that I want to change it to red list. See how that, it grabbed all instances of that formatting in a document and then allowed for me to do something simultaneously to it. In fact, I could also highlight this section here, hold down my control key, and you can see I can highlight discontiguous text within a document. Never been able to do that before. I'm telling you right now, that is good stuff if you're working in documents. Thank you. So just to close on the task panes here, you can see here that we have a mail merge task pane. Today, I'm not going to show you the send for review function, which actually uses Outlook, and you can send a document out in Outlook, ask people to review that document, and then when it comes back to you, because you sent it as a document, it comes back with this toolbar up here that says show right there. And that actually is a whole set of tools that allow for you to take documents from different people, and then rather than having the stuff all interspersed, it actually will put it over onto the side. It takes about 15 minutes to demo, so we're not going to show that today. I really want to get to the solution stuff. But I would encourage you to spend some time with saving changes, with merging documents. The new markup paradigm that they use is very similar to what people do, where they circle a word, draw a line over to the margin, and then type it in. And you can accept or deny each individual one. You can accept all. You can take individual stuff from different people and say, you know what, that guy is kind of a jerk. I don't like his input, so I'm just going to nix it. So spend some time with that. And now what we're going to do is jump over to Outlook real quick. We're not going to spend a lot of time here either. I want you to spend this time on this yourself within the copy that we put in your bag. But what I do want to call out is that there's a number of changes. One is it supports multiple email types, so you can have your Hotmail account and your Exchange account all in one. We've enhanced the preview panes. And what I'm going to do right now, though, is not spend a lot of time in Outlook, but I'm going to jump right into a solution that is built on smart tags. Now, I used to work after I had part of my brain removed. I moved over and started working with a lot of our services partners. And one of the things that was very clear is our services partners, they don't build solutions around Office because there's no money to be made in Office. There was no extensibility in Office at the level that they needed it to build enterprise applications or to even build usable applications for consumers that they were going to make some money on. So as a result, people weren't developing solutions. And for the most part, what you got with Office was what you got with Office. Well, what I'm going to show you now is something that Avanade is actually a joint venture between Accenture, which used to be, of course, Anderson Consulting, and Microsoft. And they do a lot. They're a very heavy technical organization that focuses in the enterprise. And what they did is they built a back-end architecture that allows for us to do a series of things. Now, you see in this note, the network is down again, and the scenario that we set up here is that this Callie person is actually at home on a Sunday night at 9 p.m., and she's trying to get caught up on mail. And while you guys are all here, in charge of the network, and you leave to come here, you had to put somebody in charge, right? So she's not familiar with the network infrastructure, and she gets this message. She's responsible for IT. She gets this message, and it says the network's down. The vendor is here working on it, but we seem to be having, this problem again. And in fact, the Asian network has been down before, and we think that it might be a systemic problem. So what she does is she goes to the smart tag. Now, what this smart tag recognized was the word network. What are some of the types of things you might want to do with a network? Well, in this particular solution, they wanted that you could either check the network metrics, or you could go out and check the network status. Now, what this is doing is this is launching Visio 2002, And it's going out and it's going to show you a graphical representation of our network. And it's going to show a graphical representation of where the challenge is. And this is all done with smart shapes that are all programmable. And you can see here that as I right mouse click on this, it gives me the ability to link to, so you can see here that what is showing is that there's a problem between our Asia link. So I'm gonna drill down on that a little bit. The network Asia, go through the virus control. And what this is going to do is pull up a spreadsheet. And the spreadsheet is actually based on a SQL backend that is streaming XML data directly on a minute-by-minute basis to Excel. And let's see, where are you? Here it is. And let me close this so you can see what's going on. And you can see, this is, of course, just a scenario. I'm not linked right now. But you can see that there's a challenge here where this network has been down, and apparently the provider, the vendor who is providing this link is HungNet. Do you even want to do business with a company called HungNet? So clearly we've had some problems with them in the past, and I'm not really sure what our service level agreement looks like, but I'm pretty sure it doesn't say, hey, you know what, give me a day off right there in the middle. So we're going to go out and look at the network here and see what the service level agreement was, or what the service agreement was. And let's see, view the service agreement. I'm pretty sure it doesn't say that. And what this is doing is, that was actually a smart tag that was recognizing HungNet, and it was saying HungNet is one of our vendors. So it went out to our vendor database, said, here's a list of our vendors. What are the types of actions I might want to do with the vendor? I want to see their service agreement. That sounds like something I would want to do. Oh, we have another smart tag that I have installed on my fancy machine here that is the Microsoft Acronym database. And what it actually does is it goes out and tells new people what an acronym is. So we have so many acronyms that it's really important for us to be able to tell new people who come into the organization what the acronyms mean, of course, without using language to tell them. So we built a smart tag to do that. That's a technology company for you. So you can see here that on our service level agreement, it says, oh, we're supposed to be up 99.995% of the time. Well, clearly that's not working out. So let's see, what are some of the other things I might want to do? Well, you'll notice that I'm in Word now, and HungNet is also recognized. There's a set of smart tags. We've already seen this smart tag. The point that I want to make here is it recognized it in Excel. It recognized it in Word. It recognized it in Outlook. And what I want to do is let's go make sure that we paid the bill. I've done this before where you call up the vendor and you say, and they say, you haven't paid your bill. Ooh. So it's a good idea to find out whether you paid your bills before you actually go in and do that griping. And now, what I really just showed you was something that was simply spectacular. And now I'm going to tell you why it was simply spectacular. This is actually a representation of SAP data. Now, for any of you here who have worked with legacy systems or with line of business applications like SAP or PeopleSoft or Onyx, any of those types of applications, Siebel, we use internally Siebel as our CRM, as our customer relationship management software. And what Avanade did was they built a security broker that caches all passwords, uses VeriSign to make sure that it is absolutely secure, and then gives me access to that back-end data via a smart tag. Now, for somebody to actually go in and get into this SAP database and blah, 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 I mean, this process could have taken hours. They would have had to have a whole bunch of client-side software loaded. And what this has done is just brought back this SAP data right to us, right to the user. I can check this, boom, I'm out of here. I go back, I say, okay, clearly we've paid our bill, so now what I need to do is build a corrective action. Now that's cool, because what's one of the things that you might want to do with a vendor? You want to see what the agreement was. You might want to go look at the financial data, but you might also want to have some kind of a system that for complaining. And so what this is actually doing is it built a blank form, And it uses, this actually uses the fields within Word. And you'll see here, this is going out and grabbing SAP vendor, country, all this different types of fields. And what that means is that any person just working in any department could take these custom fields that were built by this partner and build their own document. So in this particular case, this is a form. What we want to be able to do is just type in, let's see, HungNet, go to that smart tag. You see here there's a number of different smart tags. It's recognizing that HungNet might also be a person. There would be a whole set of functions that I could do there. Or in this particular case, HungNet is the vendor. And I'm going to populate the form. And you saw that I had gone in and put in custom fields. Well, what this just did is went into my back-end database, SAP database, went to 5 different spots in my SAP database, and brought back the relevant information. Boom, I'm done. So in this particular solution, what we've just shown you is that somebody who knew nothing about the network infrastructure, had never interacted with HungNet before, has no idea what our service level agreement is with them, has no idea whether we've paid our bills with them, because that's not our job, suddenly has access to that information because we put her in charge of that when we left. We gave her rights to all that stuff, and boom, she can do it. So imagine some of the creative things that you could do with smart tags. And I'm guessing that most of the people in this room are fairly technical, and the crank's probably turning. Hey, you know, if I put my wife's name in, I'm kidding. But there's a whole series of things that are being done. For instance, in the legal industry, there's a company called West Group that has built this whole solution called Westlaw, and they've had this portal for a long time. And with this portal, what they do is they offer people who are legal professionals the ability to go out and get history information on a particular citation. So if you type in a citation number, it's always the same size. What it does is, their previous service would allow you to go out and get information. Well, what they did is they built a smart tag that recognizes it's a citation, automatically brings you out to that site. If you press the, go get this citation, it also gives you the ability to look at citation history. It also gives you the ability to start a citation, a whole series of things that you might want to do as a legal professional. Well, for any of you in here that make money building custom applications, you might want to give some thought to smart tags. Another thing you might want to do is spend a little bit of time out there yourself looking at some of the stuff that other people are building. Now, we haven't launched the product yet, but if you go out to www.microsoft.com/office, today you're going to see a bunch of Office 2000 stuff. After the launch on the 31st, that's going to switch over, and there's going to be a bunch of Office XP stuff. And out there on the Office XP site will be a series of smart tags. And there'll be smart tags, bridge technologies. What I could have shown you today is how it would recognize a stock symbol, allow for just the smart tag that comes up is it says, hey, want a stock quote? It brings you out to MSN Money Central, does a stock quote like that. It allows for you to build a link back to that site, so you don't have to refresh it all the time. You just press a button, boom, it's refreshed. Very, very cool stuff. With the real-time capabilities of Excel, one of the new features, Bridge Technologies, another solutions partner, has built an entire system that helps people who are in the financial industries. When they see a stock symbol, it gives them a whole series of things that they might want to do with a stock symbol. And I got to tell you, they're a lot more extensive than what we're going to ship in the box. Now, what you're going to start to see is a lot of people who are making their smart tags available to people like you, because why? They want you to buy their extended service. But just like anything, you don't necessarily need to buy that extended service to get immediate value from it. So I think we're done right now. I'm getting that hook. But I hope that you've seen something here today that is at least exciting enough to where you're going to go home, you're going to install Office XP, you're going to take a little bit of time on May 31st, and you're going to go watch either online or at your local event, and watch this, this launch. I think you're going to see a bunch of things there. You're going to see a bunch of partners standing up talking about all the money and time that they've spent building smart tags. So thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it.